Bad news for all you Gooners in chat. Actually, this is a terrible day in general for Gooners because there's two pieces of news relevant to this. Pornhub is now blocking access to its site to people in Texas. It's a big state, you know? A lot of people, a lot of Gooners getting shut down over there. This is following a Texas law. They've finally done it, lads. You now have to, I don't know, provide identification. Like, you know, here, have a driver's license or some bullshit when you, when you want to go in a Goon sesh. Texans in search of online adult content found disappointment Thursday, that's one way of putting it, after the website Pornhub suspended services in their state over objections to an age verification law that the site claims stifles First Amendment rights. So yeah, it's basically just like, oh, you want to be able to access this site, upload your driver's license, social security number, fingerprints, and copy or scan of your balls, you know? Happened here in Virginia, too, since last June. Yeah, no, I covered that. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, remember, this is the guy who said that if the Supreme Court let him, he would love to prosecute people for sodomy, called the decision a victory over porn companies and denied the state's law violates free speech laws. But free expression advocates, including those in the adult content industry, warn that laws like this one in Texas are being weaponized to censor a variety of content, including reproductive right resources and queer literature. Yeah, of course. You know, it's like, oh, you need to restrict access to adult material online. Adult material including any information on abortions or on queer people. Yeah. Yeah, essentially, yeah. As Nerodia says, this law basically sets it up so that the Texas government, the insane Texas government, gets a registry of every citizen who accesses porn. So that's cool, you know? Texas law requires users to provide their age by either entering information from a government issue ID or using a third-party system that uses public and private data, such as employment, education, or mortgage information to verify age. That's cool. HB 1181 also required porn sites to display a controversial health warning, which the law's opponents called pseudoscientific. It's like, you know how for, like in Australia, they have those cigarette packages that have the withered lungs or all the like medical effects printed on it. Now the opening image on porn sites, if you visit them from Texas, is like a gooner with a tiny shriveled up penis. You know, like the banana that's been wilting. Texas Health and Human Services warning: pornography increases the demand for prostitution, child exploitation, child pornography. I don't think this is true. I could be totally wrong here, but I think I remember the exact opposite thing happening in some countries where porn was legalized, where the legalization of porn actually led to a decrease in a bunch of negative, like, sexual harm. Mortgage info for porn? Yeah. Pornhub responded to the court's ruling by pulling access to its site and its subsidiaries, including Popular Hub's browsers and YouPorn in Texas to protect the law, which an ALO executive called ineffective, haphazard, and dangerous. Not only will it not actually protect children, it will inevitably reduce content creators' ability to post and distribute legal adult content and directly impact their ability to share the artistic messages they want to convey with it. I know this sounds pretty rich, coming from Pornhub, which I will admit, porn can be art, probably not a lot of it on Pornhub, you know, but keep in mind that this is a broader war against all quote-unquote adult content, which includes literally anything written, drawn, or anything Ken Paxton, again, the Texas government, would deem adult material, which would probably include, you know, everything the Nazis put in their degenerate art gallery. I'm not kidding. This is how that starts. The Nazis didn't just wake up one day and go, yeah, everything with this weird, like, painterly style is wrong or whatever. They legitimize it and they justify it with big arguments about how it's socially harmful, and the social harm is through stuff like, you know, pornography or lewdness or unchristlike or whatever. You know, there's a bunch of, like, second-order justifications they provide, but ultimately it's just a way of going after, like, degeneracy, you know? Yes, porn significantly reduces sexual-based violence. Ah, well, there you go. Evidence mounts: more porn, less sexual assault. Sexual assault is overwhelmingly, like, about power rather than sex. Like, the psychological forces that drive a person to be a sexual predator and the ones that make them want to get a nut off are not one and the same. Like, there are plenty of rapists who also have the ability to have normal consensual sex, right? Like, certainly being a, you know, married conservative politician doesn't stop them from preying on children. That being said, right, just the availability of porn seems to have a kind of like, I don't know, calming effect on sexual tension in general. And there is definitely some kind of tie between broad sexual frustration and sexual assault, even if it's not a perfect one-to-one correlation. I mean, anything that reduces the amount of sexual assault in the world is probably good, right? I'm consulting my ethicsometer over here, and I feel like it would be good to reduce that. Are they not worried about backlash from conservative voters? You know, honestly, this might end up being another dog chasing the bus kind of thing, where now that they've actually gotten rid of it, it might hurt them in the long run. Because genuinely, like, it is not like conservatives don't look at porn. It's not. That is true, Sublime Salmon. If anti-porn activists are correct, if porn actually contributes to rape, then starting around 1999, as the internet made it more easily available, the rate of sexual assault should have increased. But it's actually fallen 44%. That's not a very convincing statistic. But it's still good, right? The Czech Republic, more porn, less rape. Oh, this is the one that I was thinking of. Yeah. From 1948 to 1989, the communist state then known as Czechoslovakia made possession of pornography a criminal offense punishable by prison. But when communism collapsed and a democratic Czech Republic emerged, it legalized porn, which became easily and widely available. Rapes decreased from 800 a year to 500. Well, that's good. These are probably wildly underreported numbers. How will Texan cons watch their trans porn now? I don't know. They're suffering out there. Japan, China, Hong Kong, more porn, less rape. Denmark, more porn, less rape. Well, this is from Psychology Today. Perhaps a deeper dive in the future would be warranted. But for now, let's focus on this. Of course, the right wing does benefit from widespread sexual frustration because sexual frustration and anxiety are the bedrock of fascism. You know? So to an extent, it is to their benefit. Pornhub says that it plans to appeal the ruling. Well, that's good. I don't know how far it's going to go, though. Coon lives matter, exactly. Anyway, I'm very sorry to say, but the Pornhub ban is now in 8 states: Texas, Montana, North Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi, Utah, Louisiana, and Virginia. Here's the source. Yeah, it's that's crazy, dude. Like it's like liberals getting pornography in the culture war, you know, in the national divorce. I guess we'll see how all this goes, what the consequences of it will be. There are other porn sites. Yeah, but I think your average conservative boomer probably doesn't know that much about porn sites, right? Like, they probably just go to Pornhub. I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. I could not fathom what the, like, thought process is there. Totally irrelevant, sock puppet, to what we're talking about. The worst part of it is the payment processors. Yeah, that's the other thing I want to talk about, and how difficult it is for the Gooners out there. This update just happened. Got to go back to jerking it to softcore mags. Yeah, everyone is going to go back to, like, the Sears catalog shit or whatever. Payment processor. I thought I had this tab open, but I guess I forgot to. Gumroad. That's it. That was the one that I was thinking of. Yeah. I don't have a very strong idea of what Gumroad is. A powerful but simple e-commerce platform. Let's find out together. Don't we love learning, folks? I love learning. Patreon did a bad too. I know. Founded 2011, and you can sell stuff there. That's great. In March 2024, Gumroad banned the sale of sexually explicit content on its platform due to pressure from Stripe and PayPal. Payment processors have been making it increasingly difficult to, like, any kind of transactions for anything adult related, which, as somebody who follows a bunch of furry artists, you know, they've been quite anxious about this for a while. As much of a shithole Nazi haven that Twitter is at the moment, it is also one of the only social media platforms that people can actually use to post a variety of content, including adult content. You know, because Elon Musk is a free speech warrior, as he's so robustly demonstrated lately. Literally, why? Well, this is actually, I think, this is an issue with the universality of payment processors. It's an issue with monopoly, right? Like, the problem is that there are, you know, for PayPal to operate everywhere at all times, it has to abide by very strict rules of what it can and can't do. And there are countries, there are societies or governments or whatever that wouldn't care for them posting not safe for work content. And because of the universality of the way that payment processors function, you know, they're kind of like boiling it down to the lowest common denominator, and that means sanitizing it for everyone. It's a market failure, genuinely. It's mostly MasterCard, Vaush, they're terrible. Yes, that is true. Anyway, look at this. In accordance with the policies of our payment processing partners, including Stripe and PayPal, we do not allow sales of sexually explicit content. What is sexually explicit content? Okay, get a load of this list, all right? Avatars in compromising or sexual positions, or avatars that advertise not safe for work uses or explicit modifications like breast expansions. Animated pornographic videos, fetish-driven content. That's literally everything. Financial domination content. Sketches, artwork where the content's focus is sexual gratification. Videos with lingerie or nudity. So by sexually explicit content, we're including, at this point now, stuff that you could see at a beach. Audio erotica or role play audio. So, you know, all those videos you guys fall asleep to while crying, the like mommy loves you YouTube you know, audio ASMR, like none of that, okay? Adult comics with nudity or sexual acts, cosplay, boudoir, lewd photography that's focused on sexual activity, 3D models built for explicitly sexual purposes, sexual coaching services or explicit instructional content. Afuera, yeah. Animated nudity or characters portrayed in sexual situations. You might notice that all of these together ban, I think, I don't know, 90% of internet culture. Seriously, it's not just pornography. It's like anything lewd, too. Like, yeah. I did not build this sex doll with a sexual intent officer. Yeah, you have to sell the jar and the anime figurines separate, you know, for it to get through. So basically, Vogue couldn't sell anything on Gumroad if they wanted to. Yeah, like, you know, at this point, we're reaching, like, moderately risque photo ops wouldn't be considered acceptable. This is a broader issue, man. You know, these payment processors have been cracking down more and more. We saw it with PayPal. We saw it with Patreon. Patreon cut into it. Tumblr, of course, famously banned not safe for work content. You can only post nudes on YouTube if you're doing asshole waxing tutorials or nude yoga videos, which is a market, but you know, it's not widely accessible. Could this include an online store like Amazon that sells lingerie? I mean, if you have models like modeling the lingerie to an extent, then kind of, yeah, it does seem to implicate it. Yeah, OnlyFans tried banning sexual content. Do you have any idea how insane that? Do you remember that? OnlyFans tried banning sexual content. It's insane. I'm not educated on the extent of the pressures that are trying to like get payment processors to ban all sexual content. I don't know exactly why Patreon or PayPal or whatever are trying that hard to cut down on it. I know they are. I just don't know why. It's like, I have a guess at it. It's just, I know the answer has to be very complicated. But basically, like, this is a market failure and it's dictated by monopoly, okay? You can think of it like this, all right? Imagine a world in which there are two types of payment processors, okay? There are sort of universally accessible payment processors, ones that want to do business with as many clients as possible and operate in as many regions as possible. And these ones do not allow for any kind of sexual content, right? So first of all, we have to question the potential viability of this because you can easily find sexual content on Amazon. Amazon has lewd and pornographic material. Amazon has stuff that would absolutely fit in the category of like lingerie modeling, sexual instruction. There are so many things on Amazon, just Amazon, that would fit under that purview. They get away with it because Amazon is Amazon, right? But stuff that you could get away with on Amazon doesn't mean you could get away with it as like an independent site, right? Because you don't have that cred. So even if we ignore that fact and just assume somehow magically this big payment processor is, you know, would be capable of only handling non-sexual transactions, okay, there's that. But what about the fact that approximately every human being alive, is either a or future horn dog, right? Pretty big part of human culture, I'd say, is sexuality. You go back to those, you know, ancient Greek pottery shards, they're all f***ing each other. You know, people are horny, that's how it is. So what about all that, right? Like, so much internet traffic is pornographic. It's a huge amount of why people use the internet. So doesn't it seem like a market failure then that there wouldn't be some kind of parallel payment processor that would be comfortable handling all of that, even if it meant they could only market to specific clientele or in specific regions? The reason that's not happening is because of the universality of payment processors, right? Like, this is very much a monopoly issue. A payment processor is kind of like a mega utility. Rather than it being the power grid or the water systems in your city, it's like the financial system of the world, you know, or at least one of them. It's the the universality of them is a there are very strong market incentives that push it to be a monopoly, basically. It's one of those, like, it should definitely be some kind of nationalized deals. But even then, like, you'd have an international problem, because if the American government nationalized it, like, that means that every other country would have to deal with an American corporate entity if they wanted to use those processors. And I certainly don't think it should be nationalized to the point that every individual country has their own payment processor, because that'd be nightmarish. You get what I'm talking about, right? We're dealing with, like, a problem with this kind of system and what it is willing to do or allowed to do. Payment processors hate porn largely because of chargebacks. I don't think that's the reason they're doing this big push against it, though. But I guess maybe that could be a part of it. Honestly, I feel I'm not saying this because people charge back me all the time. It's actually only happened a few times, but I feel like people have way too much chargeback power, in the same way that people have way too much, like, return or refund power on Amazon, which Amazon imposes the cost of on their, like, pet slave companies that put their stuff there, you know? Like, Amazon doesn't lose out when you return something fraudulently. The company you bought it from does. I feel like chargebacks are done a little bit too frequently. You know, they should only really be done if you have a corporate account or if it's very recent. I don't know. Or you have to, like, do that lock-in thing where it's like, you know, we can refund this. You have to, like, accept some kind of charge. I don't know. Yeah, I think it would be more to do with legal complications. That'd be my guess. This is unironically something that the blockchain could be used for. Unfortunately, this was the one good point that crypto advocates had. Even though they were lying and it didn't work and it won't work, the one good point they had was that there is some kind of value to a truly decentralized system for payment processing. There are also a lot of harms, and also it didn't work, and also it's just speculative investment, and blah, 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 blah. But, like, if you get rid of all of that and you leave it just with, like, the one underlying fundamentally good point, it would be, yeah, there is a value to that. I mean, this is the value of cash as well. Cash doesn't have a payment processor. It's just cash. Cash is worth what it's worth. It doesn't have to go through all of the legal technical abstractions of what it means for a credit card company to electronically verify a purchase and transfer an imaginary amount of money or debt in one direction or another through, like, that whole system of checks and balances. You know, it doesn't have to go through that. And with cash, you can buy anything, which is one of the reasons why, of course, you know, at this point, when people say buying in cash, they're usually talking about something illicit or, like, paying someone under the table, right? Because those are things that people do generally to get around the oversight that you would otherwise have with, you know, credit processors. Now, of course, pornography is, because this is the goddamn US of A, legal. So it's not even like Pornhub is, well, Pornhub has definitely had an issue with containing illegal content, but, you know, a video of a broad with big tits getting nutted on is legal. That, you know, this is the US of A. This is freedom land, you know. America practically has, like, an international cultural, you know, stakehold on the concept of a busty blonde, right? Like, that is an American conception. Not to say that, like, there aren't busty blondes elsewhere. I'm just saying that, like, that is an American conception. That is something that gets associated with us, you know? Our culture is being taken away from us by these goddamn payment processors. And the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton. What do you think about some kind of digital cash system? We have that. The verification processes that we use for credit transactions and everything like it are just ways of verifying something that is effectively a digital cash system. There's a bunch of different ways that you could do it, but you would always need those systems of verification. You don't need some big international verification system with cash. It's just cash. What if we just get rid of money? Then what are you gonna pay your OnlyFans model subscriptions with, you idiot? What do you do? Here's my labor tokens. Get out of here. Get out of here, honestly. What about Aryan blondes? You know how you can know for sure that Nazis are gay? When I imagine an American blonde, I'm thinking like a cartoon character stacked up, double D's, you know? Like a Los Angeles type, because I saw these bitches all over the place. Big sunglasses, you know, platinum blonde hair. But then if you imagine a stacked blonde in some kind of weird, like, Aryan, Nordic, Germanic kind of fantasy, they're like just, you know, waifish, very young-looking trad wives. Like, this is what you see them post all the time, you know? When you see them post, like, oh, here's the, like, trad wife that I will marry one day, Nazi posting bullshit. They, you know, what are you 18, motherfucker? I hope she is. Yeah, where are the bimbos? That's what I'm saying, man. America has bimbos. That's what I'm talking about. It's like Nazis don't even know how to appreciate White women. Enough. Yeah, a culture cult. I've talked about this before, but a lot of the discourse online about porn addiction is complete horseshit. Like absolute, complete brain dead horseshit. It's possible to have a negative dependency on porn, and it's possible for that to ruin your life, you know, and that should be taken seriously. But when you look at conservatives online, it's insane fear-mongering, and they talk about how it's like literally the same as doing fentanyl or whatever. Like, it's insane. And the reason for that, of course, is because it's part of a broader campaign against sexual degeneracy. But this is what I said. I know that's what you said because I read your message. That's why I'm responding to it. That's what I'm saying. When I read your message and now I'm talking to you in response to it. So I read the message. I didn't read your message. Yeah. Not just conservatives. Some women think porn is that bad too. You know, women can be conservative. Many such cases. Here, Bonkdoor, you're going in the 1 hour timeout zone for being weird for the entire stream. There you go. You probably don't even know how you've been weird. You might not even be socially aware enough to understand the crimes that you've committed. And I'm not going to explain it to you. You're just going to have to sit and think.